Welcome to Getting Real with Real Estate with Danielle Kempf and Jim Kempf, St. Louis's favorite father-daughter real estate team. Your source of real estate information in the greater St. Louis area.
All right. Hey, welcome to the show today.
Welcome.
How are we doing today?
We're doing good.
Good. So it's getting to be close to the end of the year.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, that's rapidly approaching. Christmas time is what, like 3 weeks away?
Something like
Less
that,
than
yeah.
that, I think.
I don't know. When you talk to your sister, she'll tell me how many days till Christmas.
I know. I got to do some shopping myself there.
Yes.
So, we've been hearing, we've been getting a lot of questions, I guess, is what I would say, over just recently, right?
About what?
About what's the market going to be like next year?
I don't know.
Have you had anybody ask you that question?
I have had multiple people ask me that question.
We sat down with some clients last night and we talked about
we did talk about that exact same thing.
Right.
So we're going to talk about it with y'all today.
Yeah. So I don't know that we can say we're going to make our predict. Well, we're going to kind of throw some predictions out there too.
We're going to throw some predictions out there,
So,
and I think it'd be fun if we come back at the end of 2024 to revisit this and see what actually happened.
Yeah, I think that would be kind of
So we'll
funny.
do that. So
we're going to talk. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about what some of the experts,
air quotes,
are saying. About what's going to happen in the housing market next year, and then we'll throw in our probably 2 cents.
2 cents, maybe penny.
And we'll see who's right, I guess, by the end. Because it's kind of funny, I think, because I remember sitting in on the 2023 economic forecast seminars that's
last year,
produced by SLAR, right? And those guys are way smarter than I am, but some of their predictions weren't really very good.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess stuff happens and it changes, but we'll take a crack at it.
We'll take a crack at it.
See what
see
happens.
what we can see.
So, but first, of course, it's a podcast, so we got to start off with a joke.
With a joke. Let's see if you can predict this answer.
I'll see if I can.
All right. So I have this incredible ability to predict what's inside a wrapped present.
Oh, a wrap. That's like Christmas coming up.
Yeah.
A wrapped present. Yeah.
It's a gift.
It's a gift.
The present is a gift, and my
and
ability to predict it is a gift.
Right.
Yeah.
You know that's.
I know what it is
before you even open it.
It's a gift.
That's really good. It's a gift. Oh, but we digress.
We do. Okay. So
all right. So where are we going to start, Danielle?
Where are we going to start? Well, I guess the biggest question, Jim, what's going to happen with mortgage rates next year?
That's a good question. They're going to either go up or down.
Yeah, okay. Or they might stay the same. We'll just put all three options out there.
So, that's really the question a lot of people are asking. We have seen over the last, I'd say, maybe a month or so, the interest rates have
They've ticked
eased up a little bit.
Yep.
The Federal Reserve has halted their rate increases the last couple times, which has been good. Inflation, the last I remember hearing, it came in at like 3.4 or 3.5, which is not too far off from where the Fed wants it, between 2 and 3, right?
Okay.
So that's
sense.
been well. And the experts, I guess, we'll call them experts. What are your expert? Who's your first expert that you're going to say is saying? Do you have a number? I've got one here.
I have numbers. I got to pull them up over here. Okay.
All right.
So I got one from one of the economists. No, there's no T.
From the economics team at Redfin?
Yeah, okay. I can't read. From the economics team at Redfin, they're predicting rates to be right around 6%, which is what one of our other lenders that we've talked with who said that too, probably right around 6.
See, that seems low. So Realtor.com is saying that mortgage rates for 2024 should average 6.8% on average and end the year around 6.5%.
I also had another number. I can't find it right now, but someone said around 7% too. So I had multiple numbers.
So they're all over the place, right?
They are.
It just depends on who you talk to. But I guess my 2 cents on that is, they have come down a little bit. We probably will see them come down into the 6s. Mm-hmm. Mid probably would be my guess.
6 to 7-ish. I think it's fair to say in that range.
Hopefully a little under, 6.5 to 6.75 kind of range would be a little nicer, I think. But
agreed. But also I think buyers need to be careful with what they wish for, because as soon as those rates drop on down, however far they drop down, all the buyers who have been waiting for rates to drop are going to re-enter the market.
Yeah,
and not to say it's going to be like another boom kind of cycle like what we saw. I don't think it's going to be that, but there are definitely people who have just started sitting out.
I agree with you 100%. But yeah, a lot of people sat on the sidelines, especially as rates really rapidly increased, right, over last year. And I guess the end of 22, I guess it came up a little. So yeah, some people sat on the sidelines. So you're probably right. As they come down, I think you will see more competition. As a buyer, right, you'll see some more competition. I would agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I would agree.
Okay. All right. So there's our prediction. We're thinking mid sixes. So put us on the money and see at the end of 24 where that comes out. What other one? Price appreciation you wanted to talk about.
Price appreciation. Okay.
Yeah. So, oh my God, the market's going to crash.
No. I don't think, no, it's not. They said that last year too, and did it?
I'm telling you folks, it ain't going to
It's not going to crash.
Not in St. Louis, it's not. We don't see
Agreed.
it. We still see a housing shortage.
And there's tight inventory.
Tight inventory that is predicted to get a little tighter. I don't know if we have that. I've probably got some stats on that, but I want to share something. Yeah, here's what I want to share with everybody is this. Realtor.com, I'll just say this. They're expecting that existing home median price appreciation to drop by 1.7%. So, in other words, your value of your house median value is going to go down a little bit. They say 1.7%. I'm just going to say I don't think. Well, I'm going to take in our area,
in
right?
St. Louis area.
In St. Louis City and County, the SLAR statistics from October told us that the prices, actually the median price went up 3.5% year over year in October.
I had that.
My prediction, at least for St. Louis, which is really what matters, I think. These are all national. All the stuff we're talking about, too, is going to be national, right? These are national predictions, not necessarily for St. Louis. But we'll try to give you our spin on St. Louis. So, we tell this to everybody, I think. I think our appreciation here in St. Louis is probably going to get back toward that normal between 2 and 3%.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of where we're heading. And I think you see that over the last several months. It's kind of come down in 3.5 or 3.4. Is getting pretty close to that. But nationally, they're talking about down almost 2%. But here's what I want to kind of suggest to everybody, right? So if you owned your house in 2019, right, and it's pretty well documented that in Missouri and probably nationally, home values have increased about 40% since 2019 or pre-pandemic, let's just call it, right? So 40%. So if you take a baseline of 100 in 2019 and you increase by 40%, what are you at, Danielle?
140.
You're at 140. Really easy math, so bear with me, folks. What if the market went down 10% in 2024? Your value.
Okay, so
right?
140 minus 14 is
126. So you're still 26% higher than you were in 2019.
Yeah.
I hope everybody understands that and kind of gets that. That's, if you just 26% increase over 4 years, about 6.5% a year, right? That's not compound, that's just average.
Yeah.
But
that's kind of about the average that we saw appreciation-wise between 2020, 2021, 2022 was right around that.
Yeah, they were high. Yeah, they were pretty high.
8%, something like that was the average appreciation that we saw.
Yeah, one of those years I think it was over 10. But but yeah, you're right. So
we're not going to see that amount of appreciation. Like what Jim's saying, you're not going to go up 10% next year, but you might this year, 2023, you're going to go up about 3.5%. Next year, between 2 and 3%. That's just getting back to normal.
Right, but even if you lose 1% or 2, or even 10,
you're still
so far ahead of the game than you were 4 years ago. So, you hear all this nonsense in the media, and don't get me started on them, but you just hear all this stuff about, the devastation and how the crash and this and that and all the other stuff. But even if it really happened, which it won't, you're still way ahead of the game. So I hope people kind of understand that, and that's just another reason why you don't sit and wait when you want to buy a house.
No.
Just because rates are a little higher than you think they should be, right?
Yeah. Your homes are always going to appreciate. Values in the St. Louis area, as far as we can tell, our crystal ball, it's pretty stable. They're going to continue to appreciate. We're not going to be like California or, Arizona where they're dropping 10% this year because they spiked up.
Right.
So.
But those markets were probably up 50%.
They were on fire.
They were probably up 50% pre-pandemic since the pandemic.
Absolutely.
So coming down 10 puts them at 40, so they're still way ahead of the game. I hope people understand that, because you're not going to hear that on national media. They want to freak you out and scare you.
Yeah.
So that's Jim's take on
Jim's take
on the media too.
And also we had
Don't
some
get me
different
started.
numbers for the sell for the market for next year. We had different sales forecast. So
yeah.
how we're talking about everything, we did our own independent research, and we're just kind of coming together now. So what I found from, combined, Fannie Mae, MBA, NAR, the total home sale forecast for 2023, for what I found, is going to be roughly 4.8 million units.
Oh, right. Realtor.com said 4 million.
4 million. Okay, so,
and that's what they're expecting for 2024, which is the
Oh,
lowest.
no, I'm expecting 5.2 of my averages.
Right.
5.2 million sales for 2024.
Yeah, so I think, and that's probably numbers I would believe more, because we don't feel like the market's not going to get worse. Sales are going to improve because rates are coming down, and that's the main driver.
Rates are coming down, and we talked about this before. There's always things happening in people's lives where they're having to move, whether it's relocations, divorces, disease, diapers, downsizing. It always happens. Things are always moving.
Right. No, it's interesting, right? Because just looking at your stats, it looks like the National Association of Realtors was the most. They were the most
highest.
Aggressive, saying it's going to go up to 5.5 million. But
sales for 2024.
Yeah, but either way you look at it, so the 4 million roughly that we're going to end up with this year, maybe it's 4.8, but even at that number, that's as low as it's been over the last more than a decade.
I would believe it.
So yeah,
I believe that.
We definitely this year was a little challenging. The numbers are definitely down.
Inventory in the St. Louis area, I think we're getting to the same point. It was down 15%.
Sale number.
Sales number. Okay.
Unit volume. Yes.
Unit volume was down 15%.
That's correct.
This year.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. So that's going to be still a challenge. People are holding on to their houses. I think they're. You
can't really blame them for holding on to that low interest rate.
No, yeah, I think I would do it too. That's just kind of the thing.
That's kind of the thing.
All right. So what's our next?
What's our next one?
Area that we're gonna give you our crystal ball on?
You wanted to
market?
talk. I thought we just talked about that
a
little bit.
Go ahead.
But you want to talk about affordability.
Yeah, affordability. Okay, so that's a good one too.
So let's talk about that for all of our buyers out there.
So yeah, affordability was tough. It's been tough on folks, and what we're talking about, as soon as I can find where I'm at
we have
here.
so many pages of notes. This is just a handful of mine. I'm taking over, or it's like father like daughter today.
The apple don't fall far, for sure. So affordability, right? So that's essentially if you look at the percent of a typical household income that is tied up, or that's tied up in your mortgage payment, right? Essentially, 30-year mortgage with 20% down. How much of your monthly income on a typical family does that take up? So in October of 2023, according to Realtor.com, that was 39% of the household income was just to pay your mortgage. That's a lot. Right? They're expecting it to average 36.7% for the full year of 2023. The typical, kind of the average, historic average, is around 21%. So you can definitely see how over the last several years, as prices have appreciated so much, and now with the rates going back to more of a historic normal, that number's way up there, right? So, but the good news, right? The good news is that, again, we're expecting mortgage rates to ease a little bit, right?
Yep.
Unemployment remains pretty good. Well, really good, actually. It's supposed to. Unemployment may tick up a little bit, but incomes are going up a little bit too. So rates coming down a little bit, income's going up a little bit. Realtor.com is expecting that percentage of your income to your mortgage payment, or your mortgage payment percent of your income, to be 34.9% in 2024. And then also to slip down under 30 by the end of the year. So if that really happens,
that'd be good.
That's a fantastic thing for the housing market.
Yes.
Again, will it? That seems pretty aggressive to go from 39, or actually average of 36, to an average, to under 30, but
Yeah.
that's aggressive numbers, I think. But it would sure.
It would sure help a lot of the buyers out there.
Yeah.
But also, let's think about it. Inventory. Do we think inventory is going to tick up next year? Because if there's still just, that's great if affordability gets better, but if there's still not inventory for our buyers.
Yeah, that's going to continue to be a challenge, and that'll probably is what's going to keep those prices. That's another.
Sure.
That's I think just another reason why you're not going to see the market fall, especially here in St. Louis. Your prices fall
Agreed.
because there is going to be that increased demand, and a lot of people still don't want to sell their house, right? And I mean they're building a lot.
Yeah, they are building a bunch of
Seems
houses.
like we're getting, but at least again here in our market, man, you got to go way out west
You gotta go
or
west.
south or to outside the city to get that. So, again, I think I think there's some favorable trends coming in the market, which should help everybody. We're certainly looking forward to it. So, anyway, we'll move on from there.
Anyway, rental predictions. You had some numbers on that.
Yeah. So everybody knows that rent prices over the last several years have just gone
up and up and up and up.
You had that experience, right?
Yeah, and then I got a really cool landlord. He's my landlord.
But he is really cool. She is right about that. So just bought a new fridge. So anyway, well, that might be another podcast.
That's another podcast.
Damn tenants. Anyway, so yeah, rentals.
We were just talking.
Prices,
there's lots of construction.
There's a lot of there is a lot of construction.
In St. Louis, you see all the Keeley buildings going up.
Yeah, there's a lot of big multifamily units that are going up, and that is, I think, starting to a little bit saturate the market. Not
I would agree.
Not greatly, but it's starting to.
Yeah.
So Realtor.com is saying that there will be a slight decline, 0.2%, in the median asking rent. Because of the fact that you're starting to see a little bit of overbuilding, not overbuilding maybe, but obviously with landlords and these big multifamily complexes that are coming into all kind of areas. Just look around. I'm sure wherever you live, you see these things. We see them all over town. I do believe that you will start to see at least a little bit of pressure on rents, but that's actually probably again a little bit of a good thing. Yeah. The folks who do rent. Your landlord's not going to hit you up every 6 months trying to jack your rent up 5% every 6 months, right? So I think, they also do predict that vacancy rates in rentals will go up a little bit. They're saying 6.6%. But keep in mind, that's well below the 7.2% average if you look back from the period of time from 2013 to 2019. So rental vacancies up a little bit. Not bad though, considering historic numbers, and just starting to see some pressure on prices. So hopefully your landlords won't push you out on the street because you can't afford to live somewhere.
Yeah, or if rent's more expensive than getting a mortgage.
Yeah, well, that's why we tell that's one of the reasons we tell people.
Yeah.
Buy a house and take advantage of that appreciation over time because you're paying somebody's mortgage, right? I guarantee you that.
Yep. So I'm going to dive on into the next one because we briefly touched on this a little bit, and we were just talking about, security and, your home affordability or your rent prices or your mortgage rates.
Yeah.
Do you think, and I'm trying to see what article this was in, do you think that adjustable rate mortgages are going to become more popular next year?
You mentioned that, yeah.
I did. I can't remember who said that, though.
Well, I mean,
it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, I think it makes a little sense because you're seeing a trend going downward a little bit in rent in mortgage rates. So if those look like they're starting to go down, I think taking advantage of an adjustable rate mortgage kind of makes sense because you might be at 7% today, and you might be at it might drop to 6.8 the next time, and then 6.5 the next time, and so yeah, I mean, I think that kind of makes sense.
But I do think 5 years down the line that conventional fixed rates are probably going to become still dominant in it.
I think they'll always be dominant. I agree.
I would agree because people just want the security of my mortgage payment is going to be this much for 30 years, you know, you're going to have a little fluctuation with like taxes and insurance and water and utilities, but like mortgage payment.
The mortgage payment,
that's always going to be the same.
Well, yeah, and I think, this is my personal opinion, I don't have any facts to back this up, but I think that there's still, maybe some people have a little bit of a memory from back in the recession of, you know, 08 to 10, 09. Right around in there, where adjustable rate mortgages really put the hurt on some people. Yeah. So, you know, I'm old school. I believe in the 30-year fixed rate. That's either that or 15. If you can do that, it's better. But, you know, that does make you sometimes not sleep at night a little bit, wondering, oh my God, is my mortgage going to go higher? So I think a lot of people like that stability that you're talking about. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, it makes sense that we had a few clients take advantage of adjustable rate mortgages this year.
And last year.
Yeah, a couple. Yeah, I think we did. Yeah. And so, I mean, good for them.
Yeah, no,
you know,
agreed.
Because that should pay off a little bit for them. Their rate should, as they start to adjust, maybe drop down a little bit for them, which would be a great thing for them.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, we just wanted to get your opinion on that.
Yeah.
All
okay.
Right. So I'll just kind of keep going in. So I did a little bit of further research. So I found one article that went.
She's an overachiever.
I am. But it was like a 5-year forecast. So what's going to kind of happen in 5 years? And, you know, we preface this at the beginning. We don't even know what's going to happen next year. So, like, this 5-year, you know, you take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, for sure.
But from what we're seeing, or from what I'm reading, you know, National Association of Realtors chief economist, 5 years out, he's seeing a more balanced market between buyers and sellers. So, and I think we're kind of slowly starting to see that a little bit, where sellers are maybe sitting a little bit longer, can't push as much on price as you did last year, where your neighbor sold at X amount and you just go 10 grand above that because you know people are going to buy it. You can't do that anymore. If you overprice your home, you're going to be sitting for a little bit. Yeah. And like Jim talked about, buyers are a little bit more financially savvy, smart. They're doing the research on what their monthly mortgage payment's going to be with the higher rates, and they're
being more careful. I think.
Yeah, they're
more
taking
cautious.
their time.
Just being smart.
Yeah, smart, taking their time writing instead of, you know, oh my gosh, I need to get in at this 2% rate. I'll take any home I can at this point.
Yeah, I showed some folks some houses a couple weeks ago, and I looked back at a couple of them that we looked at, and several are still on the market.
Oh.
So,
so they're sitting a little bit longer.
Exactly what you're talking about.
Sellers maybe have to do a little bit of concessions, price adjustments, you know, repairs for the property.
Well, yeah, and I would say the key for folks, if you're on the seller side right now, I mean, and we tell our clients this all the time, you got to price them right going right out of the chute. Because if you do, like you mentioned, if you
try to push
a little too
you're
hard,
going to be sitting. And then you're going to have to drop before anyone notices you, and then drop again before anyone, you know. We talked about it. It's a little bit different now, but 2020, when someone was sitting on the market past like 10 days, it was, what's wrong with that house? Why are they sitting so long?
Yeah, probably less than that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's less than that. Right. It was maybe like a week. Right. But like now it's like, you know, 2-3 weeks. If you're still sitting, you kind of just have that stigma. It's like, why didn't they sell? And there might be nothing wrong with your house. You might have just pushed the price, and you just got to keep dropping down eventually. That's usually what it means. You usually got a little too aggressive. That's typically what it is. Yeah. So that's what I found for my 5 years. So like, we're not saying wait 5 years because we don't know what's going to happen, but it might be a little bit more of a balanced market. But if you wait 5 years, it has to go that direction. It has to. But if you wait 5 years, you're going to miss out on 5 years of appreciation. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. A good client of mine sent me a text a while back. I'm kind of paraphrasing this, but you know, it was from back in the 90s, maybe early 90s, let's say. Interest rates were at like 7.33%, and back then, if you would have waited to buy a house until rates came down, you would have waited for like 20 years. Right? And your home value over that time period would have quadrupled. So, you know, again, like we've kind of mentioned earlier, rates now are just kind of average. Like if you look at historical numbers, it's about average. So that's, you know. So here I found the quote. So in 1971, the interest rate for a mortgage was 7.33%. Yep. If you waited for interest rates to go down, you wouldn't have purchased a home until 1993. You would have rented for 22 years waiting for rates to go down. Meanwhile, the value of real estate quadrupled. Don't wait to buy real estate and wait. Marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah.
And we say that all the time.
So
Marry the house, date the rate.
Yep. So that appreciation, that's a powerful thing for all you folks out there, especially millennials like Danielle. You fall in that category.
Yep.
If you're a young home buyer, you're looking to buy a house, man. I think you can't go wrong. So
No, I completely agree with you there.
Yep. So keep up.
We got one last thing, and that's just kind of, I don't know, our wild card. So what could happen next year where any of this can just not happen?
Well, yeah. So the wild cards are, I guess, the way.
Well, what happens next year? What's 2024?
What's 2020? I don't know.
It's an election year.
Oh, it's an election.
It's election year,
Oh,
so we know
well,
that plays
okay.
a bunch in it.
So yeah. And you know, all these, everybody that forecasts stuff, right? That's just their guess.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's a swag, right? It's a scientific wild ass guess. That's what we used to call it in engineering school. But I don't know. Can I say that on a podcast? I don't know if I can. But yeah, like, so, you know, all this may or may not come true, right?
Yeah, we have no idea.
We have no idea. But, you know, mortgage rates, right? I mean, we're kind of hoping they're coming down. But what happens if something goes haywire and they go up a full percentage point? That's going to
Don't shoot the messenger.
That's going to put a monkey wrench in everything we just told you.
Yeah.
You know, politics, geopolitical things, right? The stuff going on in Ukraine, the stuff in the Middle East, right? So far, that hasn't like made things crazy, but certainly anything could happen worldwide that just throws the whole, you know, the whole economic climate of the world into turmoil, right?
Yep.
So you just never know. And then, like Danielle mentioned, the election, and God, don't get me started on that. But you know, that whole fiasco, you know, you got to figure that President Biden's going to do everything in his power to keep things as normal or drop rates and all that stuff going in, and then, you know, on the other side, you know, you never know what's going to happen on the Republican side. So it's just, I better stop while I'm ahead.
I'm just letting you ramble.
But anyway,
just letting you go.
All that stuff, you know, it could make things just totally crazy.
Yeah, we have no idea.
So in other words, it'll be funny to listen to this maybe back in December of 2024 and see how close we were to anything there. So, all right. So the moral of the story, we need to wrap it up. I'm sure everybody's getting tired of hearing it from us. But if you're thinking about it, guys, if 2024 is going to be the year for you to buy a house or sell a house,
give us a call. It'll be a great time.
Man, we'd love to help you get planned and get ready and make that happen for you.
And if you're getting ready to sell, if you're ready to make a move next year, give us a call. We'll help you, get it sold in the quickest amount of time and most amount for you.
Absolutely.
So, all right.
All right, well, we're going to sign
off.
Thanks for listening. We'll
Have a
see
good
you
rest
on the
of your
next
day.
one.
You've been listening to Getting Real with Real Estate with the Kempf team. Have questions about real estate or something you'd like to discuss? Contact the Kempf team at 314-336-1926 or visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/the Kempf team. Don't want to miss any episodes? Follow us on your favorite podcast app or YouTube. The Kempf team. Real, honest real estate.